We hear you. Hello.
Finally.
Shoot, I can't hear you. Let me see.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Shoot, I can't hear you. What is going on?
You
Everything's
oh,
fine,
you can't hear
but I
me.
can't hear anything. Let's see. Audio. Speakers on.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're all good. So weird. You know what? Let me try. Just one second. Okay. Headphones aren't my favorite, but let me see. Can I hear you now?
Test.
Oh, yes, we're good. We got it.
Oh, see, I love headphones.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I
It
gotta
helps
get
me like get in like it's just you and me, nothing's happening around me.
that makes sense. I
Yeah.
know. I do them on Fridays. I gotta get on it. Hi, it's so great to talk to you. How are you?
I'm so good. We've been trying to do this for like a year.
Seriously.
Finally.
Even longer almost.
I feel like yeah, that's probably true because you've gotten booted off Instagram like a couple times between
8 times. Eight.
Oh my gosh, that would be so discouraging.
It's really rough. It
Dude.
was, I mean, geez, 25,000. I've gotten taken down twice.
Wow.
Twice at 10, twice at 8. And then they just, at the last time, they deleted all those little small pages too. And so now, but this one's lasted the longest. Cross my fingers.
They're probably like, well, we can't get her for misinformation anymore.
Yeah, right. I noticed they were taking down the vaccine tags on some of the things. I'm like, ooh.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm already recording. I love to be like authentic and I will do just a quick intro with you, but I again love to be super authentic. So
Perfect.
we're just gonna kind of go for it.
That's
And
great.
I think I emailed you. I only actually do a half hour now. So
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. Yay.
All right, welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast, guys. I want to just come out and say it. Are you vaxxed? If you are, tune out now. No, just kidding. We forgive you. You are welcome here. This is a safe space. But we are going to be talking incessantly about the jab because
Truth.
my guest today, Shelby Thomson from Hawaii, she is the founder of The Unjected, which is like the first community network of unjabbed purebloods. So we're going to talk all things pure blood today. We're going to go full conspiracy theory, which is really reality.
Exactly.
And yeah. So, Shelby, welcome.
Thank you so much. Aloha. Good
Yay.
morning. I'm so happy to
Morning.
be here.
Yeah,
I feel like we've been friends for like at least 2 years now.
we
This
have.
was a long time coming.
we have. We've been friends. We've just never met.
Exactly. We're online friends.
I feel like there's a trip to Hawaii probably in my well, but for a while there, you had to be jabbed to go to Hawaii, and I was like,
Oh my
well,
God.
obviously not. First of
It's,
all,
they were doing the testing requirement too. So it was like you had to have the jab or you had to be tested within 3 days of travel. And so,
mm,
it was no science because you could just get on the plane with everybody, right? Even if you
right?
were but I mean, geez, there was probably a long year and a half that there was no flights coming into the island. I mean, it's
My
a
gosh, isn't
solid,
that weird?
yeah, it was a really stranded kind of feeling, but in a really nice way as well, because the
Yeah.
beaches were just empty. We were just walking around in our own little secluded island. And it was really just, it got weird when I saw people started wearing their masks,
Oh my gosh.
swimming,
Oh,
hiking in
stop.
the ocean. They're like, got the full mask on, or in the
Oh my
jungle on a
gosh.
hike by
I
themselves.
it's like it's almost when I still see people wearing masks, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be like a name caller, but
Oh,
how ignorant are you really? Like,
I,
I tell people, and I know that you know this, but I almost like feel like I have to say it. Like, If it's still here, then it's always going to be here. So are you
Right.
going to wear a mask the rest of your life?
All the
Like,
time.
that's the level of competency that we're at. If you believe that it's still here 3 years later
Yeah.
and you're going to die from it,
Yeah.
you believe that you're always going to die from it.
I can't even
It's so
hide my
sad.
face anymore. I actually glare at people like they're idiots. I
You're
can't
making
even help
us
it. I
dumber.
just I just look at you with that face. Or I mean, even my daughter's school. I mean, God forbid, I've seen children still being masked there by their parents, and I look at them like you're an actual criminal. You're a criminal, as far
Mhm.
as I'm
Well,
concerned.
and
You are a criminal.
you're dumbing down society. Like, as a
Yeah,
whole, we talk about the indoctrination of children all the time, right? And now
yeah,
it's drag queens and LGBTQ and pride and trans stuff, but it's also these ridiculous maskers.
yeah.
Because my kids are like, "Why are they wearing a mask?" And I'm like,
Right.
"I don't have a
I
good reason.
I don't know
I
either.
don't have an educational answer for you other than that person is terrified to
Yeah,
live their life and breathe,
yeah,
and they're not thinking clearly." I'm like, "I'm
yeah.
sorry, that's the truth about if you're still masked up."
It's true, it's a lack of
Tough.
oxygen to the brain at this
Yeah.
point.
Which is making them dumber, which is making them mask up more, which is making them dumber. It's a vicious, vicious
The
cycle.
cycle.
Vicious cycle. All right. So tell me, like, you know, 2 years ago, whenever it was that you started the Unjected, what inspired it? Like, we'll start
Yeah.
there because I have a lot of questions, but we'll start there.
Okay,
What inspired
sure.
it? Because I know,
Well,
I think a lot of people thought, I'm going to do this, but you're like, no, I'm actually going to do it.
I know it was like the race to who did it first.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I've always been, we could dial back the clock up, way even before 2020, not way, but when I was actually pregnant with my daughter, my oldest, I really started kind of waking up to the pharmaceutical, industry and vaccines and, how they were poisoning children from the second they were born. And that was one of my first wake up calls when I started diving down really into that rabbit hole. I realized, I think I'd actually been vaccine injured myself. I had, my parents didn't know
Mm.
any better, and I was given the Gardasil shot as a teenager, and which of course is a very experimental vaccine, which is under a lot of scrutiny now. But at the time it was like, wow, it's like this revolutionary cancer preventing vaccine. And
Is
it was
this
just,
the HPV one?
yeah,
I
yes,
totally remember being a teenager and all of a sudden this thing came out. I actually like got diagnosed with it,
yeah,
and they were like, "Well, the study shows that, like, the test shows that you like have it, like most likely have it." And like, "Well, do I
yeah.
have it?" And they're like, "Well, most likely." I'm like, "Well,
Then
do
why
I
do I
have it
need
or
it?
not?" And
Yeah,
then I remember asking the doctor as a teenager or maybe a young adult, what's going to happen? Like, why are you, oh my gosh, they're calling it an STD, which was
right,
not.
right,
And I'm like, well, how did I get it? What's it going to do?
right.
Well, realistically, by the end of it was like nothing. And I'm like, then why did you effing test me for?
Right. Well, and it's actually, if you want to get real deep into it, there's a huge population of the world that has HPV. Most
Mhm.
of it's completely harmless, and you actually can't test men for it, so they're completely, just spreading it as well. But they don't have a actual test for men, so you can only single out women and test them for HPV, which is really inaccurate. And most of the time it's not even a danger. There's only a few
Yeah,
strains that actually cause this quote unquote cancer later on.
right.
And so I had this Gardasil shot, and it's very eerily similar to today. It was the 3 vaccine series,
Mm.
and I got the third one, and I was, geez, I don't know, 13 or 14, and I immediately developed heart conditions. I was debilitated. I had tachycardia, and my heart was swollen, and I had the pericarditis. It was like I was a healthy teenager, and
What
then
the
I
heck?
and I went I was thriving, and then I was completely ill all the time. I couldn't, walk upstairs. I couldn't carry my backpack. And I was taking medication that was meant for old people. And it was like, wow, how did this happen? And, I watched this progression of my own body where
Mhm.
I kind of became this I don't like the word victim, but I was
Just
under the
be a victim. You
hold.
could be a victim on this
Yeah,
show. Just
it's
this show
just for
alone.
5 minutes though,
Let's just
where they
play it.
tried to make me ill and get me on other pharmaceuticals to, take
Oh,
care of the problem.
to
Oh, now,
remedy
now
the
you have
original.
now you have
Yeah.
a heart condition, or now your hormones are weird, or, let's put you on birth control or this. And I started waking up to that. And, I said no a long time ago. But then when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was like, wow, I want to do something different. I want to be better. Now that I know what I know.
Mhm.
And so, when she was born, I was always adamantly, anti-vax. And I was anti-vax before it was popular.
Before we were all
Right,
anti-vax.
before everyone was.
Yeah.
And so I remember, getting kicked out of, the doctor's office with my newborn, in 2017. And they were saying, I'm sorry, you're a murderer. And we can't have you be here if you're not going to give your child vaccines. And that was like, that was a huge moment for me. It was like, wow, standing up for medical freedom is
Mm.
scrutinized.
Mhm.
And so when 2020 rolled around, I already was, looking at this in a really different lens. And,
Yeah.
here in Hawaii, they became just mental.
Yeah.
There's only one little hospital on our whole island that has 8 ICU beds. So,
Oh my
the
gosh.
panic that they were
Oh, I'm
able,
sure.
we have one hospital, you guys, that's it.
We have one
And
ventilator
and
and we
that's
gotta share it.
for
Yeah.
car accidents, and that's for COVID, and that's for everything. And I mean, they hit it hard. And there wasn't legitimately one place in Hawaii that you could go without a mask on. I mean, even if you tried to be rebellious, like, I'm going to go in the store without the mask on, they won't let you purchase your groceries. They'll actually just call the police and make you leave, and it was terrifying to watch the place that I loved, because I'm originally from Idaho, right next door to you, and
Yeah.
in Oregon.
Yeah.
And I grew up with freedom and, like, sovereignty. And so it was so shocking, to watch everybody just be like, no, this is totally fine. You don't
To
have
watch
any.
the anti-fascists become the fascists so quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the
Yeah.
essential workers were like, we're so essential, like we gotta, you know, police
Because
all
we
this.
say
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And you are not because I say so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I started feeling really ostracized in my community. Even my own partner didn't agree with the fact that I was so outspoken. Hey,
Mm.
honey, just be quiet about it. Like, why is this?
How dare
It
you?
was, yeah, and
Yeah.
it literally every angle of my life. And then 2021 rolled around. We saw the vaccine rollout hitting so hard.
Mhm.
People are posting their vax card selfies. I just
Oh,
felt
geez.
just physically
Their
ill.
Band-Aid tattoos.
Yes.
Oh.
Just, like the frames on Facebook will get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And, everyone it seemed like no one had heeded any warnings. And it was kind of a grieving process. I feel like 2021, like watching everybody just line up for their,
Right.
like the
Yeah.
sheep to slaughter.
It is.
And
It's sad.
and I was just feeling just, sad for them. Pfizer had also released their clinical trials at the time, which was talking all about changes in menstruation and,
Mhm.
being with a trial participant and what that actually means with exposure and pregnancy. And
Mhm.
they really dove deep about inhalation, sweat, skin contact. Every single thing was listed there. And that was just completely brushed over, it seemed like, from a lot of people.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I'm a mom myself. I was it was like blaring to me, like, why wouldn't we be concerned about what's happening, about the pregnant people or about the
Right.
future? And there were, they're lining up pregnant people to get it.
Mhm.
And so then, of course, there was the gaslit women, the menstrual changes, this, the ostracization. And it was just kind of the tipping point. And it was like, you know what? I already have this armor of being an anti-vaxxer. I've been called a murderer for a long time, and I can withstand it. And
Mhm.
I don't care. I have to do something, because
Yeah.
if I don't do something for my children, what am I going to say when I'm an old lady in my rocking chair and I'm like, I didn't do anything while this happened. I actually just watched and I didn't do anything. And the thought of that actually made me sick.
Yeah.
And so, I didn't have any tech experience whatsoever. I'm just a stay-at-home mom. But I dove deep into YouTube tutorials with my co-founder, Heather, who's also a fellow mom here on Maui. She's my best friend as well. And when I went to her with the idea, I said, "Hey, my husband thinks I'm crazy, but you want to do this? You want to do this with
We're all
me?"
crazy now.
Yeah, she's like, "Let's fucking do it." And so here we are diving into tutorials, trying to figure out how to find, key code front ends of an app,
Mhm.
and we figured it out after lots of
You figured out how to start an app?
We
Oh my
did. Not
gosh.
very well. I mean, mind you. So we used like a third party company to do the back end coding. So it was a lot like a template. We
Mhm.
were filling in the template from the front. Uh, and so the app was born for Google and Apple Store in, let's see, geez, August of 21, or excuse me, May of 21, just 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I
It's
know
like
time
time is just crazy. It's
soaring,
crazy. I feel like they
soaring.
stole time out of our heads too.
It's the trauma
Isn't it
too.
weird?
Like we
Yeah.
had to, like we all
Yeah.
disassociated. We're
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
we're
like,
like, what?
I just
What
had a
year is
baby.
it?
Oh, he's 3. Oh.
I know. Like I had another
Uh.
one. I'm like, I've had two children in this pandemic. Like time is flying. Uh, but yeah, so the app was born. It was an apparent need for
Mhm.
people, and it started for dating, friendships, and community. But once we started introducing more features, that's really when it went crazy
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
censorship.
Okay, so I'm excited. So like what kind of features, what does one do on the Unjected app?
What can't you do? Just
Oh
like a
my
little
gosh. Okay.
anything you want. So, of course, at the time, the really huge need was for people dating. Who are
Mhm.
you having sex with?
Mhm.
Are they shedding all over you?
Do you
Are
want
you,
a mutant baby with 3
yeah,
legs? Do you want the
yeah.
baby to even be born? That's
It's
like terrible, but
it's horrible, but it's the truth. Yeah, like, do
yeah.
you care about your personal health and safety? This is the new AIDS,
Mhm.
and that's really how strongly I felt about it, and I
Yeah.
still feel about it.
The
And
more honestly, the more time goes by, the less dramatic that statement is. Like the
it's true.
more it really is like murdering Americans.
More
Yeah.
vindicated.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't want to be right. And so, dating, friendships, community, but then the social feed, which was something that was important to me because I was, being censored on Instagram, which was something, of course, we just mentioned, with, going on Instagram and having to code your words, or, oh, you're in jail on Facebook, or, we deleted your profile. Like it was just,
Again.
yeah, it's just
Mhm.
madness.
I can vouch, you guys, by the way. I would just be living my life, and then all of a sudden I'd have a message from the Unjected, and I'm like, oh, hey, we got deleted. This is our new account. Follow us. Oh, okay, follow.
Again,
And then like
again.
2 months later, hey, it's like the Unjected dot. I'm like, hey, we got our account got deleted. Follow us again. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm guessing that you guys are talking about the vax. Delete, delete. Like you've been deleted so many times. I
So
keep
many
following
times.
though. I keep refollowing.
Even, I mean, they even took down my personal photography page that had nothing to do with Unjected.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
like actually how I like made a living of doing
Yeah,
photography, like,
dude.
family photos.
They're evil.
They deleted my whole entire business off the internet. They
Wow.
deleted my personal Instagram as well, which neither of these accounts talked about Unjected, you guys, which is
Yeah.
that's I think the most frightening.
That's yeah. They
They just
really
wanted.
silence you.
Yeah, they're like, "Will you
Really.
just stop talking about this? We're
Yeah.
really, if we have to delete your newborn photos, like we'll
Oh
do
my
that." Like,
gosh. Oh my
you
gosh.
know? And
You're gonna go to the drivers, like the DMV one day and they're gonna be like, you don't exist.
but who are you? It's gonna be
Whoever
like
the powers are, they have wiped you from the earth. We have no idea who you are.
the last injected Shelby account I made was deleted in 19 minutes. I had to register it under my mom's information.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. They're like,
It's
someone somewhere is like, sir, we've got Shelby on Instagram again. She's calling it something else. The uninjected.
Exactly.
Cancel it. All right, deleting now.
It's delete, delete.
And you're just like, it's been 3 minutes. Sir, she's
Exactly.
trying again.
And so, yeah, I felt like personally, I was offended by all of these deletes, and so that's why we introduced the social feed, because I wanted people to go and talk about whatever they wanted to. This is America. It's our freedom of speech. This is the First Amendment of the Constitution. We are allowed to talk about whatever we want to talk about,
Mhm.
and that's what really got us into trouble. We introduced the social feed and then blood match and fertility match directories at the same time, which was, actually I had seen, you're probably maybe even friends with her, Britt Galvin on Instagram, who
I
was
think so.
injured, I believe, by Moderna.
Okay.
And she became completely magnetic after her vaccine. And I was just horrified for her. And I remember like she was posting videos in the hospital with like her car keys on her face. And
Oh my
they were
gosh.
telling her she was on drugs. They were like denying her. Like, this is not, no, you're high. And I was shocked, but I remember just thinking, what's in her blood that's making this happen?
Yeah.
You know, and
Oh,
what
isn't that weird? And we'll never get straight answers.
we're
Like,
never gonna
oh, I'm on drugs. Test me for drugs then. Like you're a
right.
hospital.
Right, and of course, she wasn't,
No.
and it took many doctors before they, validated her, but, that was, the pivotal, like, "Okay, I cannot be censored, we also need now we have blood problems, and we've
Yeah.
got
We
fertility
got
issues."
people with
I'm
keys
like,
on our faces.
"This is way more about just dating, you guys, like, we gotta, like, this is serious." That's when it became more of, like, a project of humanity, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, so we introduced the social feed. Like, what happened was app testers, if you make any sort of adjustment, they go through and make sure, like, even if it's a font change, they go and they quickly test your app, and then they say, "Okay, Apple or Google, it still works,
Mhm.
and you can republish it to the App Store." So it's kind of like when you have your iPhone, it says, version 14.8
Right.
point whatever. So
Yeah.
that's what those are.
Okay.
And so we did an update. An app tester went through. This is just a human being with their own opinions, and they saw what we were talking about,
Oh
which
my
was,
gosh.
hey, these guys are getting connected to 5G towers.
Mhm.
There is graphene oxide. There's nanotechnology. People are going to be infertile. I mean, anything you could imagine. People saying you can share my bicycle without a vaccine. They went and circled all of these in red. They sent it to Apple. Apple then sent it back to me and they said, as a developer, you need to delete this information, or you need to delete the users that are spreading this
Oh
misinformation,
my
because you
gosh.
guys are not a medical establishment and you cannot be talking about this.
Neither are you, Apple.
Right.
So how did
Excuse
you get the
me?
authority to tell me?
Pardon me?
Go
Yes.
ahead, Apple. Let me know where your degree is so you can
Yeah.
tell me that this is misinformation.
Just absolutely
Dude.
insane. And I was like, two middle fingers to you, like, no way. Like, I'm deleting any of this. Like,
Here we go.
screw,
Here's Apple again. We got
screw.
Shelby again. She's
Right.
trying to update her app.
I can't believe I even have
Sir,
an
sir, what do
iPhone.
you want me to do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, that was like when they started, putting the eyeball on us. But
Mhm.
then it was actually a reporter from Bloomberg. She finally called Apple to get a comment. And she said, hey, like, why are you guys allowing all these anti vaxxers on there? And then they just pulled the plug.
Oh
Um, and then,
no.
yeah, so they nuked us on Apple Store. And then Google was like
Dude.
right behind. They were circling literally everything. And so it was kind of that moment where I was like, you can't fire us. We quit. We don't even want it. We don't even want to
I'm
be
not
here.
you're not breaking up with me. I'm
Yeah.
breaking up with you.
We don't like you guys anyways.
Yeah.
We're out of
You're
here.
all vaxxed anyway. You're
Yeah.
you're shedding into my app.
Yeah, we don't even want this. So, that's when we were just like, pulled the app, we got to start over. We got to go web-based only, because the closest as we can get
Okay, so
to.
now I feel like I got to catch up. All right,
I
listeners, if you're
know.
listening, where do your mic get nuked on Instagram and Facebook? Your app got nuked. Where do you exist for real? Only right here?
Unjected.com.
Okay, unjected.com
Unjected.com.
is the only place. Go there quick before it gets
Which
nuked.
will, I know,
Yeah,
ironically, it's not
go go.
it's not even up right now because
Oh,
of what's recently happened, which we could dive into. But
mm.
I mean, geez.
Okay, so unjected.com. I'm gonna go there. So yeah,
Unjected.com.
because I'm a pure blood. Could you imagine if I was vaxxed this whole entire podcast?
Well, you know what? It's
I
okay
got
because
pressured by my work.
we actually, well, and I'll touch on this because, we had a lot of people that reached out and said,
Mhm,
hey, I messed up. I've taken the red pill now. I did take the
mhm,
vaccine, but I am so regretful. I'm
yep.
terrified for my future. I've always supported being mandate free.
Mhm,
Am I allowed to join Unjected? And I'm like,
mm.
we all like, wow,
That's a tough one because you're
and
like, it's if you had a straight dating site, you're like, but I'm gay, so can I still join? You're like,
right. It's like, should we
kind of,
change? Do
kind
we
of
change
no.
our
I don't
ways?
know.
Like, do we let you in? And so really kind of I really, when we thought about it, it became about, what is sovereignty, and medical freedom is medical freedom, even
Mhm.
things that you don't agree with. And it's like,
Mhm.
I would never have sex with a vaccinated person, and maybe 99% of our site wouldn't, but not everybody feels that way. Maybe they're
Right.
just concerned that you were protecting freedom, that you
Mhm.
were always mandate free, that you were always supporting free speech. There's a lot of layers to this. And so it was like, who am I to say that, you can't be here, that, we're, sorry that you woke up too soon. We don't want you here, because
Right.
in the end, we still are going to need, we're going to need these people on our side too, to
Yeah.
to overcome the beast. And so, we did introduce a profile option called Vax Afflicted, because I feel
Mm.
like it's an affliction.
Good. Yeah. Good
It's
call.
like there's an affliction here.
We have
And
some victims on the platform.
there are, and actually, the last survey that we had, it was almost 10%
Oh
claimed to
wow.
be vax afflicted,
Mm.
and they bring a lot of insight to the social feed. They're we love them. They're friends and family, and we care about them. And
Yeah.
so it's sad to see what happened, but I'm glad too to have space for them to wake up to
Okay,
what's
here's
going
my
on.
question for you. This
Yeah.
is legit. Have you heard of Spike Support from the Wellness Company?
All right, let's talk about the wellness company for a second. I'm
Okay.
okay, because I have something very exciting to tell.
Okay.
So the reason that our site is down right now, you guys, is
Mm,
because
mm.
we've partnered with the wellness company.
Oh my gosh. I did
I
not even know that.
Yeah, it's very new.
This is not a
This is
staged
it's
plug,
not even
people, by the
staged at
way.
all.
I was literally like, dude, if you have an app where people are coming to you and they're like, I accidentally got it, I feel bad. I'm
I
like, dude,
know.
introduce them to
The
Spike Support. It's
spike.
like the
Oh my
only
god.
thing.
Exactly. It
That is
really
so
is.
cool.
So I know. So
Oh my
actually, we're
gosh. Okay.
so blessed because so we've had a lot of technical issues. Obviously,
Mhm.
I am not an app developer,
And even if you
and
were, you'd be banned.
even if I was, and we did introduce the .com. We've had it live for about a year now, and we still experienced a lot of technical issues. And in this transition, we have partnered with the wellness company. So
So good.
like as we're speaking right now, they're redoing the whole entire website. And it's going to be done like soon, you guys. It's not even going to take that long.
I'm
It's going to
so
be just a
excited.
couple weeks.
Okay.
And
Yay.
so yeah, we're actually taking it to the next level with the wellness company, because yeah, you
It's a
know
thing. It's a
this is a
thing. And you
whole
know what?
thing.
You know what makes me mad right now is I've been talking about Spike Support. I've partnered with the Wellness Company as a Patriot Barbie partner. They're on my
Yes.
website. And I have people messaging me going, quit fear mongering, quit fear. And I'm like, hold on a second. Hold
No.
on. Let me just
Yeah.
let me say what I need to say here. If
Hmm.
you were on your period, I'd give you a Midol. If you had a headache, I'd give you
Yes.
an Aleve. I'm not making you fearful of potential headaches and cramps. You have a problem, and I am giving you a solution. I am not telling everyone, run around and look for symptoms of shedding. You
Right.
either have them or you don't. If
Right.
you do, may I please give you something to help? Like,
I
it's
love
that
that.
simple. And I'm like, people message me, and I'm like, I'm not even going to respond because we're supposed
Yeah.
to be in this together, and you're being dumb. So,
Exactly. Or when I get the same thing, like why is this
why is this a
fear
whole
still
thing?
here?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's like, we come this far as unvaccinated people? Yes. Do we think it's important to stay that way? Hell yes. Like, we didn't come all this way to just do nothing. And so yeah,
Yeah.
I love that the fact that there's new options. That's a and I can only imagine what's going to happen. But
Mhm.
the spike support, that's what I've been saying. It's like, add it to your safe sex routine, pretty much.
Yep.
Anything that you do, if you're a human living on this planet, you're getting shed on some degree or another, no
Yep.
matter if it's at the grocery store or
Yep. The gym.
anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
I started with Spike Support with the Wellness Company, and I was like, I literally don't have vax people. And she's like, don't you go to, like, I see your videos. Don't you go to the gym? And I'm like, I do go to the
Hmm.
gym. I was like, oops. All right. And I also probably, it's Planet Fitness. So I'm guessing 99% of them,
Oh,
which, are unhealthy and vaccinated.
guaranteed.
Sorry if you go to Planet Fitness, but they're like the judgiest gym. They're like, no judgment unless you actually work out and you grunt, like then we judge you. So I'm like, you guys are all vaccinated because you're snowflakes. But so yeah, so now I've started it finally. So I've started spike sports. So now I'm like, okay, cool. Now I can actually see the difference happening and like the fog lifting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm so excited. Well, I'm still breastfeeding, so I actually haven't been able to start it yet. But
Ah!
I'm like waiting for the kids one to come out. But I
Yeah,
literally have everyone I know on spike support. And
good,
I mean
good.
the comments that I'm getting back from my family, my mom, she works unfortunately around too much vaccinated people, and feels incredibly different. I mean, I
Oh, isn't that
really,
weird?
yeah, I can't even say enough
People
about it,
are
to be
always they're like,
honest.
trust the science, trust the science. I'm like,
Yeah.
science is a series of tests that come to a conclusion with
Yeah.
like all this stuff, right? I hate
Yeah.
science. But
The
I'm like,
scientific method.
some of the science is the actual lab rats, the actual guinea
Yeah,
pigs being tested, which are
it's true.
the people. We are the
Mhm.
science. So I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but I am following the science.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just a
Okay,
different kind.
well, we got to wrap up, but you get to decide what we're cheersing to, and I want you to tell everybody
Oh.
one more time where they can find you for now.
Yes, so you guys, you're gonna go to unjected.com. It's gonna be right now, if you go to the landing page, it's gonna give you a little bit of info about our transition, but just give it a few weeks. We're gonna be updating that as we go, and everything is gonna be so sparkly and gorgeous when we come back on.
Yay.
I am just over the moon. I cannot wait.
And just so you know, this episode, if you're watching it, the website's already live. So like I push these out a few weeks. So by the time
Yeah.
you say this,
Oh, perfect.
they can go to
Go right
unjected.com and
now.
it'll be live. Yeah.
Yeah, go
So
there
go
right
now,
now.
go. But wait, there's more.
There's more. And then, well, in the meantime, if you're, wanting to connect with your community, we actually do a podcast on Friday evenings every week, which Lindsay, we would love to have you on. But it is a remake of Love Line. So we actually have a toll-free number. You can give us a call. You can tell us stories on the air. And I mean, we get the funniest, most incredible stories like post 2020 apocalypse world.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, Friday evenings, The Unjected Show. You can find me at Unjected Official or Unjected Shelby
Okay.
underscore.
Underscore dot dash one exclamation mark.
But geez, I think that's about it. But I think
Okay.
that we should cheers to everybody surviving the most intense military psyops of our
Mhm.
time. We did it, and now it's our time to come together and celebrate and be youthful and happy, and grow the future for our children and the world.
Cheers.
Cheers. So isn't hotter coffee than that.
All right, I'm gonna